citizenship. But anyway, let's go to Michael Danby, who's joining us just before question time from Canberra studio. Michael Danby, thank you for joining us on To The Point. Now, you made a very pointed...
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You've made some very pointed remarks in The Australian earlier today, saying that Julie Bishop's coziness with Iran, if I can put it in those terms, was quite dangerous for Australia. What was what's your main concern there?
Well, let's just focus on one thing. Say foreign travel advisories to Iran. Australia is a proud country. We never agree to change our travel advisories unless we're sure of the safety of our citizens. We are not going to change our travel advisories, or we shouldn't change our travel advisories to Iran for political reasons. If we're going to return asylum seekers who Steve Chobo says are not refugees to Iran, it should be because of reasons in and of itself. It should not be traded for consulates in Melbourne or Sydney, or changes to travel advisories, or some of Julie Bishop's wacky ideas of intelligence sharing with Iran.
So essentially, she's contemplating an MOU with the Iranian government. She's considering some of the items you've just stated there, really for the trade-off of returning failed asylum seekers. You've made a point that, in fact, some of her push within the international community around pushing for the intervention of Iranian Shia militias in the largely Sunni lands of Western Iraq is one of the most absurd things that we could propose. Speak a little bit about that concern.
Well, this is what led to the disaster previously. The Daesh or ISIL is active in Western Iraq, and they are Sunnis, and the idea of using Iranian-backed Shiite militias to defeat them is the worst possible idea, because their antagonism is the very thing that's leading to this conflict. And previously, we paid the Sunni awakening, that is the Sunni tribes in that area, together with a small number of American troops that President Obama had there, and the situation was entirely suppressed or quiet. And this idea of further military coordination with Iran, I mean, Julie, I can't believe that this is the Australian government's policy, or that they haven't been questioned more about this.
Michael Danby, head of our Onslin here, let me ask you about this. I mean, she's hardly Robinson Crusoe on this. The United States are looking to engage more with Iran. They're moving away from Saudi Arabia for a variety of strategic reasons. Australia is, in a sense, following suit. And even if we don't, the ongoing engagement with Saudi Arabia, the Wahhabi regime there, they're hardly any less brutal, quite frankly, than the Iranian regime. It's devil you know versus the devil you want to get to know, isn't it?
Australia does not want to make the situation in the Middle East worse. We don't want to send Australian citizens to Iran when the security situation has not improved. And certainly we don't want to coordinate with Iran in intelligence matters when the Australian Parliament, just as the State Department, as Christina said before, on the weekend, found again that Iran has a manipulative or proxy role with the international terrorist organisation Hezbollah.
Michael Danby, you wrote in The Australian this morning that we do not want to be sharing our bombing coordinates, the Australian Air Force bombing coordinates, with Hezbollah. Is that a bit of poetic license, or do you think that is a real threat if we do sign this MOU?
Christine, let me be clear on this. At the meeting in Paris, where Julie Bishop proposed further military coordination with Iran, despite what Peter says, the Americans and the people there rejected her proposals. So what I'm saying is, what does this intelligence sharing mean? What does this military coordination mean? Does it mean going as far as the Australian Air Force, which is there, telling the Iranian proxies on the ground, Hezbollah, where we're going to bomb? I mean, unless you rule out these kind of things, this is a state of ridiculousness. Talk about rolling out the red carpet for terrorists. That was a very unfair thing of the Prime Minister to say, when we have been doing everything we can to support measures, the 3 tranches of legislation previously that support the security of the Australian people. That was really going over the top. He should be a bigger man. He should be looking for consensus on this. After all, he needs the Labor Party to pass this legislation in the Senate. He'll never get support from his new mates in the Greens to do this. So, you know, I really appeal to him to look for consensus, get Labor's support for these things, do as I suggested last week, refer this legislation on dual citizens to the Intelligence Committee. They'll work out if the law is constitutional or not, bring it back to the Parliament, and both of us will vote on it, as we have last time, to protect the safety of the Australian people.
On that issue, Michael Danby, I mean, it's good to have you on here talking about the whole citizenship debate. Finding Labor front benches prepared to do so is like finding hen's teeth. It looks like after what happened last week with a little bit of confusion, they've gone to ground.
But be fair to them, Peter. They've all been defeating Christopher Pyne on his ridiculous measures on trying to deprive government funds going just to government schools.
It's only a Green paper. I was lamenting this state of debate, and it's not just your side, it's both sides. They're as bad as each other, and a lot of us in the media are as well.
Well, he's given up now, so both of us shouldn't debate it. He's given up, he's surrendered.
But yeah, exactly, but I don't like any of that. I don't like the gotcha at him, and I don't like his surrender to follow. It's only a Green paper, for heaven's sake. Well,
as I said, you know, I'm pleased that government schools are going to continue to be funded by the Commonwealth, and that Christopher Pyne's pulled down his kite.
Yeah, well, you've killed reform, and their weakness has done it as well. We're out of time. Michael Danby, appreciate you coming on the program. Thanks very much.
Thank you.